Hello there, YouTube audience. This is Kills for Food coming at you live with another chapter of the Quest for the Diamond Sword. Hopefully this one's a little more politically inaccurate according to Minecraft terms, so that we have a little more fun in the Reader's Critique this week. This chapter is chapter 10, and it's called Bitches! I'm sorry, that says witches. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and start this chapter off right. Chapter 10, Not Bitches. The mines beneath the snow-covered ground were empty. Steve was beginning to lose hope, but his wolf Rufus was just happy to be on an adventure. "We'll find diamonds," Lucy said, trying to cheer him up while they made their way to the surface. They broke through the ceiling above them, and the sun shined. The humidity air felt sticky on Steve's skin. Steve stepped out into a marshy pit. "Ugh," he said as he shook the water from his boots. "It's the swamp," said Max, looking out at the water coated with lily pads. Rufus walked over to the lily pads and began to drink from the water. The water was a deep blue, and the sky had a purplish glow. Night was beginning to fall, and the full moon was growing brighter by the minute. Steve had never seen anything so vibrant, yet spooky. In the swamp, sugar canes and vine-covered trees sprouted from patches of water. "Look at that yucky green water," Steve said as he pointed to a patch of what seemed to be polluted water. "That's not water," shouted Max. "That's slime!" The green blocks of slime inched towards the group. Henry took out his bow and arrow. He fired a shot at the slime. An enormous slime ball oozed through the evening sky and shot slime in every direction. The group shielded themselves from the green, gooey substance. Henry grabbed vines and said, "We can create a ladder to escape the slimes." Max piled blocks behind them to break their fall while the gang climbed high above the swamp. "The moon is getting bigger," said Lucy. "Or we're just getting closer," added Max. "No, it's a full moon," said Henry, whose voice seemed to shake as he spit out the last few words. "And that means one thing. Bitches!" "Bitches!" Steve had enough. They were still hiding from the slime, and now they had to be on the lookout for bitches. "I'm going to..." Henry cried out as he fell from the ladder of vines. The blocks broke his fall, but he couldn't get back on the vines and landed on the ground below. "We have to help him," Steve said while he climbed and found himself surrounded by 3 slimes. Lucy adjusted her bow and arrow as she made her way down the vines. She shot 1 slime. Steve backed away, avoiding being drenched with the slime ball. Suddenly, a mini slime jumped on Steve and made him lose energy. He hit the slime and it bounced off his skin. Max jumped from the ladder and plunged his sword into the slimes. Green guts flew through the air. Steve ran over to Henry. "Are you okay?" "Yes, but look behind you," warned Henry. "It's a bitch hut." The brown building stood on the grassy marshland. Above it, the moon grew larger, filling the sky as the star glistened. A small woman opened the front door. She was drinking a tiny glass filled with a potion. "A bitch!" Lucy said as she ran. "Watch out, Steve! She's drinking a speed potion! We have to move fast!" Steve grabbed Henry by the arm and pulled him from the swampy ground and away from the bitch. Rufus followed Steve while barking at the bitches, but wolves had no effect on this evil mob. The bitch looked ahead as she swiftly moved through the swamp, right behind the treasure hunters. Her lavender eyes darkened as her lips swallowed more foul liquids. The bitch hat flopped, and her purple and green robe blew in the wind as she charged toward them. When Steve looked back to see her evil face, with its large nose and a wart, a purple glow emanated from her body. The bitch tossed a potion as the group, and immediately they began to slow. "She got us!" screamed Henry. "It's a potion of weakness!" added Max. The bitch began to change color. The purple mist surrounded her grew darker as she drank more potions. "She's going to splash more potions at us," warned Lucy. "I have some potions that can help us." Lucy grabbed a potion of strength from her inventory. "This should work." Max ran towards the witch, lunging at her with his sword. She splashed another potion at Max, and a drop of the potion touched his skin. "It's poison!" Max said as he started to feel weak and sick. His food bar started to turn green. "What can we do, Max?" asked Steve. "The poison doesn't last that long," said Lucy. "But he needs to go somewhere and rest. We need to get out of here so Max can recover." Meanwhile, Henry was battling the bitch. The bitch jumped, missing the blow from Henry's sword. Max was the master at battle, and Henry couldn't fill his shoes. Steve joined Henry and struck the bitch, but she didn't get hurt. She pulled out another bottle and started to drink a new potion. This potion gave her even more strength than before, making her even harder to fight. The witch took out another splash potion and aimed it at Steve and Henry. Henry grabbed Steve and they began to climb her vines. Lucy rushed towards the witch and knocked her out with a well-placed arrow. "Good job, Lucy!" exclaimed Henry. The two friends climbed down from the vines and stood by Max. "Where can we take him?" asked Henry. Steve grabbed a bottle of weakness potion that had fallen on the ground. He put it in his inventory to help cure Elliot the blacksmith. Steve stared at the dark blue water in the distance. "We need to build boats," suggested Steve. The group quickly gathered around wooden planks from their inventory and started crafting 4 small boats. "Do you have enough energy to get in a boat?" asked Lucy. Max nodded his head. He might have been weak, but sailing away from the bitch-infested swamp was his only chance for survival. "Keep an eye out for bitches," Henry told Max as the gang worked on the boats. Max could see another bitch running through the swampland. He told them, "There's one running our way. She must have a swift potion. She's moving fast." Lucy charged at the bitch, but the witch threw out a splash potion of slowness, and Lucy's pace began to decrease. A skeleton emerged from the shadows. "Skeletons and bitches! It's just like Halloween!" Henry called out as he raced to save Lucy. He took out his bow and fired an arrow at the bitch. It knocked her to the ground and defeated her. A glass bottle fell from the witch's hand, and Henry reached to pick it up. "Trick or treat," he said with a smile as he lunged toward the skeleton, who fell back with a loud clang. Henry grabbed a bone from the skeleton. "Looks like we have a lot of treats," he exclaimed as he showed the group. "Let's get on the boats," Lucy said while she walked slowly toward the boats. She watched for any other hostile mobs that might be lurking in the spooky swamp-filled land, which was only lit by a full moon. They placed the boats in the water. The 4 little boats sailed away from the swamp waters and into the calm sea. "We can use the stars to guide us," Max said as he looked up and pointed out the North Star and Orion. Alright guys, I know we haven't done this in a while and the chapter's far from over, but I have to do it. It's fucking ridiculous. So we're gonna do the reader's critique a little bit right now, and then we're gonna keep reading. You guys know how this goes. But there's no constellations in Minecraft. We're gonna start right there. There's no navigation on boats either. You put it in the water, you push W, and you go. You go till you hit lead. You don't fucking look at the North Star and Orion and fucking Hector's rectum and be like, "Oh yeah, the island's that way." That's not how that fucking works. And I don't remember when Henry became Van Diesel, but that trick or treat line was too much for me. It was just too much, and nobody in this book gets a catchy, phrase. Nobody, just not how this works. Winter Morgan, you can't just write shit and then decide to pull out a fucking Van Diesel script out of your ass, which, I mean, in all fairness, that's how much thought process has been put into this. Is pretty much Crank in a book. "It's so peaceful out here," Steve said as he sat in the boat with Rufus swimming next to him. What? Wolves swim in Minecraft? Oh no. He felt safe from mobs and was enjoying the ride. Although his wheat farm was near the ocean, this was his first boat ride. "Maybe you should be a sailor," Henry joked from his boat. And the 4 boats floated right next to one another. Steve stood up and his boat rocked a bit. He said, "I wonder how long it will take us before we see land." It seemed like the ocean went on forever. Suddenly, Steve's boat hit something. Thump. "What was that?" Steve asked as he looked out to inspect the damage. Max's boat fell hard against the same object, and he added, "I think our boats are crashing." "It's squid," Henry said, and pointed to the blue squid with tentacles that reached toward the boat. "My boat is sinking!" screamed Steve. Before Lucy or Henry could offer room on their boats, 2 more loud thumps were heard. "We've all been hit!" "What are we going to do?" asked Steve nervously. "What do you think we're gonna do?" Henry said as he jumped overboard. "We're gonna swim!" The gang drove from their boats into the sea. Rufus swam next to Steve as they searched for land in this aquatic world. It felt like they were swimming forever. Max was exhausted. The bitch's potion had seriously decreased his strength. When they thought they couldn't swim another stroke, they saw land. An island! Max screamed for joy. They swam to shore and found themselves on an abandoned island. Lucy spotted a chicken and took her bow and arrow. We need to eat, Lucy told the group as she offered them some chicken. The sun was rising and Steve walked around the small island to see if there were any resources. Look at those eggs, Steve said as he kneeled down to get a closer look. Those are silverfish eggs. They can kill you, Henry informed Steve. Steve immediately took out his sword and began to destroy them before Max had the chance to spit out the word, Stop! The eggs broke open. The silverfish were born. A griefer put them here. They leave them because people who don't know about the eggs try to destroy them to kill the silverfish. They don't know that's how silverfish are spawned, Henry told Steve. Build a pillar, Max yelled at Steve. Steve quickly constructed a 2-block pillar for the group. Lucy grabbed a handful of gravel and threw it on the silverfish, which destroyed them. I don't trust this island. I feel like it's booby-trapped by here by a griefer, Henry said as he jumped down from the pillar. I bet that's because there's something valuable here, and they want us to stop us from getting it, said Lucy. Max looked out, saw a cave, and said, I bet that's what they want to keep us from. The cave? Asked Steve as Rufus stood next to him. I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to find our diamonds, Henry said and walked toward the cave. The group followed him. Steve grabbed a pickaxe from his inventory. Let's go diamond hunting, Steve said with a wide grin. Alright, let's do this reader's critique then. This is probably, nope, it's not as bad as it gets. I lied. They magically teleport how the stuff. Anyway, no spoilers here. This was probably one of the worst chapters I've ever read. I know you probably caught on. I did call the witches bitches. You want to know why? Because I can. It's America, free country. That's just how these things work. But, aside from the fact that, these witches, came, from the hut, like they do, I don't ever remember anybody or anything really being able to double stack strength potions. The witch, the bitch, the thing, it drinks too, and it becomes stronger than before, and Max and Henry can't defeat it. Keep in mind, Henry's over here swinging his sword, and then Lucy just pops out of nowhere with his bow and arrow, and is like, one-shot MLG, no hit marker, and it dies. But, I thought pulling necessities out of their asses was Steve's job, because he's the one who's always pulling out these pickaxes and this gravel and everything. And then Lucy's like, oh no, it's okay, I have these potions, drink them. And they're like, okay. And there was something else I wanted to address that was ridiculous and stupid and everything important. One other thing that really caught me off guard was the energy to get in a boat. You don't use energy to get in a boat. Ever. But anyway, whatever reader's critique you guys have, go ahead and feel, obligated to leave them in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And who knows, maybe I'll see something I'll like and feature it in the next video. Also, I'm going to drop a link in the description and up on the screen right about now. It's my GoFundMe. One thing that I'm trying to do is make more up-to-date content, but that's really hard to do because I'm running on a kind of old PC, and right now money's funny. So if you guys have a few bucks to spare, go ahead and check out this GoFundMe. It'll be great, and I promise I will not let you guys down. But either way, check out last week's chapter, or the channel really. Don't forget to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. This has been Kills for Food, over and out.